Wait a minute, pause. No, maybe we shouldn't, cause what I'm doing is gonna require a lot of time, and kids and family requires time. And if I got a job and kids and family, I'm not gonna have time for my purpose. And if I don't have time for my purpose, then I'm be miserable, and it just don't work. So I think that's when we started butting heads.
That conversation didn't come before kids.
Huh?
That conversation didn't come before kids.
We were.
Welcome
to the J&O Show,
where we talk about
things that we were never told.
Who you?
I'm sorry. I'm Jay.
You gonna start that over?
No, I do it with the mistake. Oh, I guess we starting it over now. You just killed all our momentum.
2,000 years later.
Welcome
to the J&O Show,
where we talk about
things that we wouldn't.
Hey, who mess is this?
Word.
That's
That's how we starting off season 2.
Yep.
Bruh.
Yep. And I think you should put all the edits in there too. Just chop them right on up.
Okay, who you?
Oh, you ain't want to start? No. You ain't want to start from the beginning again?
Welcome
to the J&O Show,
where we talk about
things that wouldn't.
We gonna get it.
I'm getting so tongue-tied right now. Yo, I'm getting tongue-tied. I don't know why. Try again. I'm gonna get it.
All right, third time's a charm.
I know I'm a little tired, but go ahead.
Welcome
to the J&O Show,
where we talk about
things that we were never told. I'm Jay.
And I'm O.
And now you know.
If you guys are new to our channel, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you turn on those post notifications so you can know when we upload, because you never want to miss an episode. Also, if you guys are new here, if you have ideas for show topics, be sure to put them in the comment section below and write hashtag next show, so that way we can easily filter through and give you more of what you want. All right, so today we are actually going to be picking up where we left off from last week, because as we mentioned, you know, we can talk for a while, and the video was starting to get kind of long, so we wanted to make sure that we broke it up into parts. So we're basically going to be talking about, should you get married before you discover your purpose? We kind of started talking about that, but we kind of shifted gears because we're talking about submissiveness, being submissive and all of that, or what have you. But we were bringing it all back to a particular point. Okay, and so we wanted to share our particular story on that aspect of getting married before purpose, because that is in fact what we did. So we wanted to share basically what our lives have been like since that is the route that we went. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That does. Okay. I guess you're just gonna wait for me?
Yep.
Just gonna pass
So
it.
you should know by now it's the alley-oop. You know, I put it up on the backboard and you're supposed to come smack it in.
On the backboard? It ain't supposed to be on the backboard. That's the problem.
Bruh.
Don't you smack it on the backboard and then the
No.
other person come and put it in the
Oh, you talking about if you're doing a very specific one?
Yeah,
Just
you know
really
what I mean.
specific.
Y'all know what I mean.
No.
You
Just-
should know by now.
See, that's when they try to alley you to you, but it's a bad pass. That's what
Got
happens.
it.
Okay, so our experience. This is what happened with us. All right, so I know that we've hinted at it before. I'm hoping that this is not a repeat.
Yeah. If
So-
it is, just rock with us.
Yeah, anyway, when we got married, I was definitely not in purpose. Didn't know what purpose was. I was working a job with my dad. Well, I feel like I've definitely told this before. But anyway, I was working a job with my dad and working for my dad, and I was like, oh, you know, I was just working. I didn't understand what purpose was. I heard every once in a while people doing the positive motivational message thing, and I was just like, I don't know what that is. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I didn't pay any attention to it. But I was miserable. I was like depressed and everything. I didn't really have direction. I didn't know how to attain direction. Like, I didn't understand now your purpose lies in your gifts, and your gifts lie in your talents, and they all make room for you and get you right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Me and this shirt been fighting since the last episode.
Sorry.
And it's still not, it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. Look, anyway, so when we got married, I was still doing that, working a job for my dad, and low-key, you know, if I would have just stayed there, like, yes, I still would have had to go and work through purpose, but we be different situation right now. I'm just saying, financially, you'd be alright, you know. But anyway, I detested that job. And it wasn't the work I was doing as much as it was the people that got on your nerve while I was working. It just is what it is. It's just one of those, it's a service job, and anybody who does a service job or customer service related job, y'all know what I'm talking about. Some people is just too much. Yeah. And some people is super cool. So it just really varies. I couldn't stand it. There was a lot of not too much people. And then so we went like we normally would, like most people do. You go, you get married, you get a job, you get married. That's what we did. And then I awoken and found purpose. Like, all right, so I ran into what was my purpose about 5-6 years in, but didn't realize what it was. Because we're talking 2009, we got married in 2005. So it was like,
so you better know.
No. I was trying to think of two things at the same time.
Okay.
My brain was split. So we got married in 2005, and 2009 I got introduced to it, and I took to it. I loved it. Like by the end of that year, going into 2010, my wife went and got me like my computer and my program and my first little controller, or like keyboard controller and everything, and I just took off. So I was into what would become my purpose, but I didn't understand what it meant. I just know I loved doing it, and I spent like every spare minute making music that I could find. And it was like that for a long time, and I didn't necessarily have direction then either. But I know I was happier, but I still, like, it was just like, oh gosh, I gotta go to work. Like it was, y'all know, working for the weekends. And low key, that brought a lot of stress to us. Once I started realizing that I wanted to actually do music full time. I mean, I didn't necessarily expect to get up and be like, you know, some super producer or anything, nor did I really care to, because a lot comes with that. But
yeah,
the switch of, oh, I want to do this for a living and I want to make money on it, from what I was already doing, like, put a lot of stress on our marriage. And then, you know, we're getting to a certain age now, and my wife wanted to have some kids, and I told her that I was gonna get her like 4. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was just saying what other people were saying, and thinking that was for me, because everybody says that. Well, everybody don't say 4. That was just me being stupid.
No, well, we both were saying 4 until we had the first.
Yeah. After we had one, we was like, what are we doing? Why? Nobody. I had one good friend that was kind enough to point and laugh at me when I told him I was having a kid. And he pointed and he laughed at me. He was like, and then I knew. But he was the only one. The rest of them lied to me. They told me it was going to be this great transformative experience and all of this other stuff. No. Nope, he was the only one that told me the truth. And I appreciate you. I always will appreciate you for that, man. Always. And then when the kids came, and it became a pull between, I gotta go to work, and you gotta spend time with the kids, and you gotta spend time with the wife, and you're trying to do purpose all at the same time. Yeah, that's when things got rough. Yeah. So I guess she's not gonna talk. So no. She didn't want to. I'm sorry. To it.
As I mentioned in the first part of this video, please forgive us, because this is the 3rd time, I believe, that we're filming this content, and I'm trying to go back in my mind to make sure that we didn't actually upload something similar to this. So if this sounds familiar, just rock with us.
Yeah.
Okay? It's all right. You know, you can hear it again because you might have forgot some golden nuggets or what have you. But anywho, like Jay said, yes, it brought a lot of drama, a lot of trials and tribulations, if you will, with us, because it started to rip at our relationship. Because I believe Jay mentioned in one of our previous videos talking about depression, you know, and he became very depressed. And I know this we did share. He became very depressed at one point, and I was confused because I'm just like, what's going on? You know, why are you depressed and everything like that? Because, you know, am I not enough? You're not happy with me and all that comes with that. But once, you know, coming to the realization basically that it, you know, had nothing to do with me, and more so was just an internal thing with him, and everything like that. I mean, it helped, but the damage was already done, in the sense that we were already married, we already had kids, and it's like, okay, now you know what direction you're supposed to be moving in, and it's like, now how do you do that with all of these parts? Like, how do you maintain pursuing purpose and still finding time for a family, essentially, and still working? Like, how do you juggle all that? And the stress of that, you know, got to a point where, you know, we were just like, are we really trying to do this anymore? It got that bad where we were considering, you know, getting a divorce, because we just were in two totally different places. Mentally, we were in two different places, and at one point physically we were in two different places. But yeah, we were just going through, you know. And getting back to the point, the reason why we wanted to talk about this is basically just stressing the importance of really trying to identify what your purpose is ahead of time, because knowing that is going to save you a lot of drama. It's going to save you a lot of heartache. It's going to save you just time, because had we, and well, actually, let me back up. So one of the points that I mentioned in the other video was whether or not the man was in purpose and us being submissive to, and all that. All of those different, I guess, thought processes, I feel like would come into play, or would have come into play sooner had he been in his purpose and had I been in my purpose, if that makes sense. Like, I guess my original thought process, like as far as being submissive, and I don't think I've been the non-submissive type. Word. That's what you're gonna do.
It was too easy. She just thought that was an alley-oop. That was an alley-oop. She just threw it up there. There was no way I wasn't gonna catch that and dunk it. Like, none.
Well, anyway.
No. My wife is strong-willed, and she definitely was on the independent wave. But it's not because she's stuck and she just wanted to be. It's because she felt she had to be. It was one of those situations with us that I believe, I was, okay, so before I found purpose, I was really, really laid back when it came to anything. Like, where you want to live? I don't know. You want to live here? You want to live there? I don't know. You want to do this? You want to do that? I don't know. Like, nothing mattered. It didn't matter where I lived. It didn't matter why. Well, do you care if we get outside? Why?
No, no, you cared about that.
Yeah, I didn't want to come down south.
I don't even want to hear that.
I didn't want to come down
about
south. But the thing about moving down south for me was, the thing for me is I felt like the life might have moved too slow for me, because I know I was a city guy. So that was the real thing about moving down south. I knew I was a city guy, and I was like, I don't really want to move down. I've been down south a lot because I have a lot of family in the south. Virginia, South Carolina area. And for me, like, that every time I went there, I just felt like it moved a little too slow for me. I like the city. But that was it. It wasn't even like a crazy type of, like, oh, I gotta live here, you know what I'm saying? That all changed once we had kids, and we were just like, yo, so it's crazy up here. And we got kids, and I want them just a little bit less.
Yeah.
For them, a little bit less. A little bit less possibility of getting hit in the drive-by. A little bit less possibility of gang violence. Just a little less. That's, kids be safe. That's all we want. So that's what really made it happen. But I didn't really actively participate in a lot of decisions concerning stuff like that. Should we get this car? Okay. Like, everything was just like, I didn't really care, because I didn't have purpose. I didn't have direction. When you don't have direction, you don't care. And for me, I wasn't the type of person to exert control in any of those situations. If I don't care, then I don't care. Like, I don't start, like, no, you can't do that, and you can't do that. Like, you got all the freedom in the world. If I cared about something, I would speak up. But most things, I just did it. And a life without direction, that's what you get. A lot of I don't care. Could the person sits there and they're like, I'm gonna be miserable anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. As long as we not in the hood and it's not crazy, it's just whatever. Can I walk outside without having to duck? Like, that's all you care. But once I had purpose and I started to lock in, I think there was some resistance from you when I started to come to the realization, I really, really want to do this, because we were on the path of we gonna have these kids and we gonna do the family thing. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, pause, no, maybe we shouldn't, because what I'm doing is going to require a lot of time, and kids and family requires time. And if I got a job and kids and family, I'm not going to have time for my purpose. And if I don't have time for my purpose, then I'm be miserable, and it just don't work. So I think that's when we started butting heads.
That conversation didn't come before kids.
Huh?
That the conversation didn't come before kids.
We were. I told you, like, that was the reasoning that I gave you for the kids is, and I would go, you know what I'm trying to do. I can't do the kids right now. That was the conversation that I was giving. I understand now why you were sort of like, that ain't what we discussed, because it wasn't what we discussed. That's not what we came into the marriage talking about for the last couple of years. For everybody who doesn't know, we didn't have kids until we were like 7 years deep, I want to say. So for the last 7 years, that's not the conversation that we were having.
I'm trying to remember that conversation. It was before or after the
No,
fact.
it was I told you before.
That was after the fact, baby.
It was not. See, look.
It was after the fact.
You see?
This
see?
the one that claimed his memory ain't all that great.
See?
But
no,
I
I told you that.
This.
No, I told you that. The reasoning, look. When we were talking about kids,
we had that conversation
look,
after the fact, after I was already pregnant with Nala, is when we had that conversation.
Oh, no, you said had the kids. I thought you were talking about they were here.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's different.
Well, whatever.
Like,
it was too late, basically. We had that conversation.
But so we're like butting heads now on it, and then I always be wondering if I should say we get pregnant again, because I totally don't get pregnant. I totally don't get pregnant. But she got pregnant a second time, and everything just went all to, because we saw what it was gonna be like with the first one, and then the second one happened, and it was just like, and we started.
And by that point, I was done, because between I don't even know. It was just a lot. It was a lot going on, because we were, like you said, we started butting heads already. I think part of the reasoning for the butting heads was also the not knowing if this was serious. Mm-hmm. Like if this was, when I say if this was serious, like as far as the pursuit, and we've talked about it before, as far as like, pursuing being in the music industry. And so that was one of the things that was an issue, because it had been a couple years, since you started. And of course, granted, there's a learning curve, because you just got into that particular facet of music, doing production.
And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, yeah, I listened to that stuff. I wasn't ready. I had to practice. I had a lot of practicing to do.
Yeah, they say you got to put in your 10,000 hours.
And I had not got to my 10,000 hours. That's for sure. And
so I guess I was questioning the authenticity, I guess, of his desire to want to do this, to pursue as a living, basically, because for me, I hadn't seen what I needed to see to make me feel like, okay, he really serious about this thing.
And then that's where you come into the issues that we were talking about in the last video.
Right. Like, I hadn't seen that, because I'm just like, okay, this is what you say you want to do, but...
And what happens there is, when women get in those situations, they don't understand that you giving resistance does not help your mate.
Right.
And that's when we were talking about the whole submission thing, and I was just like, what are the conditions of submission? There are no conditions. Like, you gotta be on your man's side. And it's one of those things, like, you can say, well, I'm on your side, but I don't know. Once you do that, you're another person against what he's doing, and that causes tension in your relationship. Now, if I had already been pursuing it, and let's say I had already been pursuing the music thing, and by the time she came in, I was already at that point when we had the kids. So I had been pursuing music for 7 years. When we get married, she would know coming in, I'll be like, yo, I'm trying to do this, that, and the third, because we would be having children conversation, and I would no longer be going, no, I won't vote. And there would be less confusion. She would know, and she would be able to make a conscious decision. Do I want to be with this man knowing that his number one priority is music, and knowing that I want to have kids by X age? And as a woman, you have to think about that. You can't have, I'm not going to say can't, but it's very difficult to have kids at, 40, 45, 50. And if you do, how many kids do you want? Because if you want 4 kids, you can't start at 40. If you're, the risk level, first of all, the risk level of being pregnant and delivering alone.
In general.
And then on top of that, you're going to add multiple children, and you're of a certain age. And let's just be, the way most of us eat, and the way I exercise and be, because our schedule, right, don't really all the way, because we don't be having, because you like, yo, I'm gonna go to the gym, and you get up, right, and then you sit down, and then next thing you know,
you're not at the
it's
gym.
9 o'clock at night, it's over. So so it's like, as a woman, you have to be very cognizant, very aware. I have a limited time if I want to have children. And as a man, you could be having kids at 60. I wouldn't suggest it unless you just really don't want to ever have to play with your kids, or have any type of fun with them whatsoever that requires you to walk.
Activity.
No, walk. Because the way I'm feeling right now, I can see how walking is going to be a challenge at 60. But like, all of these things, they matter. And if we would have been having the conversation, if I would have known where I wanted to be, or been more, fine-tuned and focused on it. And the thing is, I was getting hints about this well before I actually got into music production. Okay. Because you remember when I was working for the record label.
Okay.
And I was trying to get the people there to teach me production, and they weren't. At that point, I should have just left and taught my daggone self. And I didn't. So that's on me. So it was actually there years before. I just didn't realize what it was. What I was sensing.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So basically.
And y'all saw the tension in today's video.
Yeah.
Like, that still is a sore spot in our marriage. That's still there. Like, there's still hurt there.
Yeah.
It's
still something that we have to process and work through.
Yeah.
We now have the knowledge of where all of that, I guess, stem from, and having a better understanding, both of us, as far as purpose and everything like that. So now we have the tools. Basically, knowledge is power. So now we have that, in our toolbox or whatever. So we can use that knowledge when we get into these situations where sometimes we might have to have difficult conversations pertaining to next steps because of purpose and all those different things. But it's a lot easier. It's not something where we're just like at odds with anymore or what have you. It's just like, okay. Yeah. So we just have to figure out, like you said, how to make it happen.
That's it.
That's pretty much our take
so,
on that.
Yeah. So there is, more story after. No, it's not really. Not really for the subject matter. There's more story. Things that, our life didn't just stop after we figured certain things out. But, we got together and we started having to work through it, and it's been, I don't want to say very difficult, but like, there's been a huge adjustment. That's what I should say. There's been a huge adjustment in the dynamic of our marriage, how our marriage moves. I have to be more assertive, because as I'm getting purpose revealed to me, it's just like, yo, I have no choice but to follow this. And I feel like it's where I'm supposed to be going because of X, Y, and Z. And then, for her, she has to trust that because this is a position she hasn't been. Now it matters where we live.
Right.
Now it matters what town, what city we're in, what type of house it is, because we have the kids now. So what type of house it is matters, because we can no longer just move into a 1-bedroom apartment. Because if it was just me and her, we can do that.
Right.
Like, we get along well enough to be able to do that. I don't know if we could do a studio though, because We at least, because I would be in the bathroom all. Babe, you've been in the bathroom for 3 hours. I'm like, I just want a room to myself. Goodness gracious, I'll be sitting there with the phone watching Netflix or something. So all of that stuff matters now, and the dynamic of our relationship changed a lot, and we both had to adjust to that. And she's very honest, like she said, like she did start to become like, okay, well, hey, if you know what you want to do, then you go that way. And then it became, so what is my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, once she saw me starting to be like, yo, this is important to me, she started to be like, yo, you know what? I should figure. And it could be anything. You know, there are a lot of women who are meant to be mothers because they're fantastic at it. There are a lot of women who are meant to be, you know, a homemaker and things of that nature, and there are a lot of women who are meant to go out and run a company, and all of that is going to change the trajectory of your life. Right. And if you're miserable not doing purpose, you sort of kind of got to figure it out, because you're going to be CEO about that family thing. It's going to be some serious adjustments to what you think the family thing going to look like. Not that you can't have one, but it ain't going to be traditional. Right. That's for sure. So yeah, so that was our experience with that particular thing. And, right. You know, you guys got to see a little sneak peek behind it. I think that was the first time we had a little bit of tension on a little bit of juicy tension on the show. That might have been the first time. Really? Was it? Is it not the first time?
I don't know. Anywho,
we already did. I mean, you know, we already said that. You know, you see that we still have some feelings there. So, so same thing. And I don't, you know, I don't want folk walking around thinking we perfect. We need to be like J&O. No,
not by any means.
Man, no. We still working through stuff. And it's just that the love part is so strong. The team that we made is strong, that it's worth fighting for.
This is true.
So
indeed. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed today's show topic. And as we mentioned, if you watched 2 weeks ago now video, that we have a new Instagram page called the J&O Show. We want you guys to go check it out. You'll be able to actually see some of what we're talking about. You'll be able to see kind of behind the scenes or a day in the life as we go through, because we're in the process of moving because of purpose. And we're not exactly sure where to just yet. There's several different places up in the air, and we only have a few months, like 3, to basically figure that out. And it's a lot. So yeah, stay tuned. If you want to see all the craziness that goes on with that, follow us on Instagram, on the gram, at the J&O Show. Okay, it'll be the J with the and symbol and O. All right, you'll see that in the description as well. Okay, that's it. Until next time, everybody. Deuces.
Press the off button.